an inside look at the restaurant industry and entrepreneurial insight to help you succeed. It's the Paper Trails Podcast with Albemarle Paper Supply.
What's going on, guys? How are you? And welcome back. Episode 24 of the Paper Trails Podcast. I'm super excited to have you guys on, whether you guys are listening to this via Spotify or Apple Podcast, or you are checking out us handsome gentlemen via our YouTube channel or other social media platforms. I am super pumped. My name is Nick Caligaris-Mitros, host of the podcast, and so I am very, very pumped and excited to have some friends of mine, I love to say clients of mine, some customers. We've got Matt and John Williams, brothers, and they are a part of Rico Açaí, which if you have not checked out their spot, they have multiple locations. We will talk about their start and how they got it launched and expanded. And so super pumped to have them on to talk about business, life, entrepreneurship, growth, all of the above. And so, gentlemen, thanks for hanging with me and chatting. Absolutely. So why don't we do this? Just a maybe real quick introduction. Let's kind of get to know you guys. Let's do maybe background and where you guys are from. And you guys from Charlotte? Yes, maybe no. I know no, but
Puerto Rico.
Okay, Puerto Rico. So both you guys born and raised?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Born and raised in Puerto Rico. So my name's John Williams, and born and raised in Puerto Rico, and moved out here to Charlotte, North Carolina about 10 years ago.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Matt Williams, born and raised in Puerto Rico, and about 10 years ago came up here for Johnson & Wales.
Okay, nice. Now you came here for school, Matt, specifically?
Yes, sir. Specifically for school.
Cool. And you wanted to be a chef? How did Johnson & Wales and Charlotte actually pan out?
Well, interesting story. I graduated high school and immediately went into a pre-veterinary program. I did that for about a year and realized that as a student I wasn't going to cut it. And the next most viable option as far as a career was service industry. I'd worked restaurants probably since 13 years old.
Okay.
All the way from dishwashing to line cooking. And made sense to go get an education in it. My brother had already been up here. He took the front of house at Johnson & Wales.
Okay.
So I decided I'd come up and take the back of house.
John, you older?
I'm younger. 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
But you came up here first?
So he did, while he was doing the veterinary school, I had another year in high school, and from there I came to Johnson & Wales. So it was about a year. I came up here, and then he moved up about a year later.
Now, how did that happen? Like you wanted to study culinary? Did you like Charlotte?
So I in high school I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
As most people don't.
Okay.
And basically Johnson & Wales came to my school, and they're like, we don't really require SAT scores. I was like, hey, sold. Not really. But, I was like, I've always had an interest in food and entrepreneurship and being involved in restaurants and getting different things out there to the public that nobody really is doing, and that's why I got the idea to go to Johnson & Wales and do food and beverage management. And yeah, the rest is history. I've been here.
Isn't it so interesting how like such a thin thread of like you ended up doing what you're doing? I don't know. Like for me, my family, my whole life was like, Nick, you've got to be an attorney, man. You're a good talker. Like you're a people person. You need to be, we have restaurants. We do a little real estate stuff like that. You need to be our attorney. You need to become a lawyer.
We got told that a lot.
Really? And I was like, okay. And then I interned when I was in high school, and I'm like, I hate this. I could not. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I literally can't. I'm like, thank goodness I took that internship, which is why I really tell people. I mean, I've got a younger brother. He's a senior in college right now. And his whole college career, even in high school, I said, go try some different stuff. Go intern with our CPA. Go intern with our banker. Go just taste a little bit of everything and just kind of see what you like. You know what I mean? And so isn't that so interesting that Johnson & Wales came down and so true story SAT or no?
It was 50-50.
Okay, cool.
SAT scores don't matter.
No, listen, I mean, I did okay on the SAT, but nothing like I felt like, because there's like people that are just smart and then people that just like test well. So like I studied and kind of did it well, but like man, the SAT, man, I tried studying for it, but like, I mean, it's just it's difficult. It's not easy. So
We weren't the best students.
Not even in the slightest. Like, definitely, we tried, we studied, we did all that, we did everything we could. Mom helped us out with the tutoring.
Yeah,
she sent us to professionals and did everything with that, you know, and
we graduated.
Yeah, she got us through graduation.
How much age difference?
2 years.
Gotcha. So me and my brother, the second one is 3 years, and so I get it. So what were you guys like in high school? I'm just actually curious now.
I don't know.
Sports.
If we can,
okay.
plead the fifth.
Pass. I love it. Pass. Okay. Okay. All right. So you guys are both up here. So you wanna get into the restaurant. So you guys both kind of worked a little bit in restaurants.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you started. What was your first? You did Starbucks was the first.
Well, I started scoop. We started scooping ice cream.
That's right.
The family had a few Ben and Jerry's shops local to it. So I think about my first shift was about 13 years old, scooping ice cream. We did that every summer. And we rode a route with our drivers to the supermarkets, so we were able to learn inventory and merchandising, all that good stuff.
And this is Dad's business.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Which we had a great conversation just off camera about, I mean, we're very similar where, both of us come from entrepreneurial families. My dad came over from Greece 37 years ago, and worked at a restaurant, bought that restaurant, brought his two brothers over here, and then just lived at the restaurant. I mean, it just was, it's a classic immigrant, like just, come here with no money. My dad's the oldest of six. My dad and his two brothers literally paid for all three of his sisters' weddings because they just had no money. Like we were, we just came from very poor families back home. And so I love that. I love the hustle and so first shot, 13 years old, right? I mean, that's, if not sooner. I mean, on the record, we're at 13, right?
my old man had me pushing a lawnmower as soon as I was able, to make, 10, 20 bucks for my would-be allowance.
There we go. It's like what, you're 9? Okay, son, start a business.
That's it. Hustling from day one.
I love that. No, I get it. I remember myself too. I remember like just making drinks for waitresses at 10, 12. And then I remember getting in the takeout room, the to-go room, and answering calls at like 15. And then, it just was, then transitioned to kind of breading the fish. We have Calabash-style seafood restaurants. And so...
from the ground up, only way to go.
That's it, man. That's it. And you know what? It's been amazing. I'm really glad. I mean, especially me and my oldest brother, because... we saw the come up. I mean, we were born into like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath ranch style house just up the road in Statesville, North Carolina, where I was born. Carport, no garage, just like very minimal back in the mid 80s. And then remember we sold the house because my dad needed the money to open up another restaurant, and we moved in an apartment for 3 years. And then we built the 5,000-6,000 square foot house that I kind of grew up in from 7 to 18 when I moved out. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. I like that I saw that kind of sacrifice, that kind of, take a couple steps back to leap forward, so to speak, so
going through the grunt work, man. It's such an important part of the process is to know the basics and the small things in the business, because if you don't learn that, you just have it handed to you at an older age. You didn't learn all the smaller things that you needed to learn, to be able to get to the point to be able to run your own proper restaurant. If it's just handed to you, doesn't work.
Do me a favor. Tell me what you guys learned seeing your dad grind and build the business. I mean, what are some things that you remember looking back at, I don't know, 5, 8, 10, 12? I mean, is there anything like that stands out to you guys?
Never stops. It never stops. He never stopped. They never stopped. My mother and my father, they never stopped. They were always working, always working to ensure that we had the best of everything, and we could see it.
Education was key for them. They had to make sure that we could go to the good schools to be able to come out on top.
So, same, dude, it's same with us, man. I mean, they both finished high school. My dad came here, tried to go to a semester of college, didn't have the money to, because he was sending money back home. And, I went to a private school, kindergarten to 8th grade, and then public high school, and then I went to a small Division II college because he wanted to make sure that, the kids got educated, right? Like it's so interesting. Our backgrounds are way more similar now that we dive into it. So, okay, let's fast forward. So we're at Johnson and Wales. Did you guys, what years is this, by the way? Like when did you guys go to school?
I moved up here 2008. That was my first year.
Okay.
Johnson Wales.
Did you know anything about Charlotte, or you just knew Johnson and Wales was here?
I didn't know anything about Charlotte. I lived my whole life in Puerto Rico and was like, Charlotte, North Carolina seems like a cool place. Been to, I think, Ohio, Florida, maybe New York, never North Carolina. I was like, why not? Let's give it a shot, see what it's about.
Were you like nervous at all about that, or not really?
I just go with it, man.
Go with the flow.
It's try it, do it. If it doesn't work out, figure it out.
I love that. Matt, was it a little easier having bro up here like already? Like how was that?
Making the decision for sure. I had actually had a lot of experience and time here in North Carolina in general, not Charlotte as much. I had been sent up here a few summers for summer camps up in Asheville.
Okay.
And towards, I don't know, my teens, I had an uncle that lived here in Chapel Hill, or not here, but in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, up the road.
So came up here and visited him once or twice, went
Nice.
to Carowinds, and drove through Charlotte. And
So you know a little bit more of kind of what to expect, more so than John. John was kind of
Yeah.
cold turkey, like.
a little bit more.
Let's go.
Well,
But-
and here, go ahead.
Oh, but he'd gotten up here first as far as in Charlotte to school, and had great feedback.
Nice.
So I would talk to my brother, when I was living back home, trying to figure out my next move after pre-vet. And like I said, John had taken the front of the house, and it only made sense for me to take the back. And who knows, someday in the future we come together and open up a spot.
Nice.
I think that was a lot of the logic.
Was that like a thought? Like
Yes.
y'all like had a, you know what? Hey, let's see what happens from this. Like let's actually do something.
Nightlife in Puerto Rico is essential.
Yeah.
It's life. You're going out probably 13, 14, 15 years old. You're going out to clubs and bars and hotels and button-up shirts and loafers, and nightlife, entertainment, high-quality food and drink and hospitality is enormous in Puerto Rico. I mean, the tourist industry is like the lifeblood of Puerto Rico. So we were always involved in that. So that goes back to making the decision of why we wanted to get in the service industry to begin with. We both loved it so much.
Man, you guys are preaching right now because that's Greece. Greece, like
I've always said it.
Literally,
Yo,
it's like
these are
tourism is it's literal all the Greek islands. Mykonos, Santorini, Ios, Zakynthos, all of like the pictures. I mean, it's you're 100%. Even you know what? Even the lifestyle sounds the same. Things are a little bit more laid back. You're gonna go out, for a coffee by the water, kind of hanging out with your friends. You post up, you stay there for a couple hours, maybe a couple of drinks. You're going out to some kind of, whether it's like a kind of laid back kind of maybe club or like an actual dance. I mean, you're going out though.
We're going out.
Yeah, it is. So that's why a lot of my family that comes and visits, they're like, oh, okay, y'all work a lot up here. And I'm like, it's like, yeah, it's a little different. It's not like what you're thinking. So it's kind of a little bit of a culture shock when they come and visit. I mean, obviously we take them around and they see stuff, see different stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember taking my little cousin to maybe about a year ago, and we watched the Charlotte Hornets game, and like she was blown. She was just like it just, you know what I mean? Like seeing it through her
sensory
eyes,
overload,
seeing
it's
it through
like,
her
what is
eyes,
this?
like, it just was awesome. So, tell me this, what's Puerto Rico like? Just, for people that maybe have never been there, how big of an island is it?
It's a 100 by 50 stretch, and prior to Hurricane Maria, I think was home to about 3.5, almost 4 million people.
How big is that? How, like, if you had to compare it, like, North Carolina, smaller?
It's a little. I think we're a little bit bigger than Rhode Island.
Okay,
as
so
far
smaller,
as actual geography goes.
Okay.
It's kind of like very similar to Miami. If you've ever been to Miami, the vibes are very similar.
Gotcha.
It's practically a state for all intents and purposes. You have all the creature comforts. The currency's the same. You don't need a passport to travel.
Oh, that's right.
That's
okay,
big.
I didn't
really big for
I didn't
the
think about
tourism
that.
Industry is the not needing a passport to get down to Puerto Rico. Everywhere else, you pretty much need a passport to get to it. And Puerto Rico's that 3-hour flight away. You don't need your passport, and it feels like you're in a different part of the world, you know?
I forgot about that. You're 100% right.
Straight shot from Charlotte, one way.
3 hours, huh? Yep. Nothing. Okay, nice. Okay, so so we're up here. School's going pretty good. You're learning. You guys finish, and then what happens? You like the area? You want to stay? Did you guys think about moving back? I mean, what? Because your family's still back, Puerto Rico.
Yep,
Still there.
Still there.
So just you guys are here. What? So process kind of what's happening when you guys are kind of finishing up school or nearing the end. Are you guys having some serious convos?
If it wasn't for I was gonna move back to Puerto Rico to work with my dad if we weren't gonna get the restaurant started, because at the time it was just we were all over the place, you know, just getting out of college. You think, I'm gonna get out of college, I'm gonna have it open in a couple months. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. So
just a little bit more work than that.
So we're like, let's give it a break and let's see what we want to find out, figure out what we want to do for careers. And I mean, obviously we have our degrees in food
jobs,
and beverage, and
we had jobs.
Yeah. Where did you guys work did you guys work while you were in school?
Of course.
Where in restaurants and in the industry?
So I worked for Levy Restaurants at the Time Warner Cable Arena.
We both did. Yep.
He did the back of the house, and I was doing the serving and the running to all the VIP booths.
Nice. Yeah. You know something that I really, even this morning I was talking to my little cousin. He was helping us out at the warehouse, and I was telling him, go and work and learn a couple things, man. I think that's one thing I wish I did. I didn't. When I graduated college, we started the paper business with my cousin. He graduated high school. I graduated college. We're 4 years apart. We're first cousins, and we just started with and it hindered a lot of growth because we didn't know anything. And so is that something you guys recommend people? Like if they want to start a restaurant, make sure you've worked at some different styles, learn some different management skills.
Learn under somebody else's dollar. Let them teach you, figure it out, make the mistakes. When you feel like you got at least a 50% grasp on it, go ahead and give it a try to try to get your own thing open.
I like that. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Experience outdoes education any day of the week for me, especially in the industry.
Amen.
100%.
Again, like I said, I worked as a dishwasher, utility, scrubbing floors and grout, all the way up to an executive chef at one point. And I learned it all. I did it all. The industry is a rough life in general. I'm sure anyone that works it knows. Got old. So you start to want and look for the next best thing. And usually in the industry, you won't find happiness unless you do your own thing.
It's so interesting. So interesting.
60 hours under somebody else. And it's like, if you just get stuck and you start doing it, you got to break it at some point and get out and start your own thing.
Especially if you're not like even independent in the role, right? Like if you have maybe like an owner that gives you a little flexibility, you can kind of run things. Okay. But if it's, maybe traditional style, like, Greek owner where, it's like a thumb on you at all 24/7.
Some folks are happy working for other people their entire lives. I never had a problem working for other people, but I always wanted something more, call it ambition.
Sure, 100%. I agree. I like that. But yeah, I think it's very good advice for anybody out there, no matter what. I mean, you want to start a landscape company. Hey, man, go work for somebody. You want to do some real estate? Go work for a property management company.
That's how I started Rico's. When I was down in Puerto Rico and made the decision that I was going to start an acai bowl company in the States, the first thing I did was contact my buddy who was the leader in the game in Puerto Rico, hopped on his truck, and I learned everything I could in 6 months before I moved up here to begin executing the business.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How does it? So that's how it gets started.
That's how it got started.
So you're in Miami?
No, I'm back home in Puerto Rico. So I graduated Johnson & Wales.
Okay.
We both graduated in 2012.
Okay.
Even despite me arriving a year later, we ended up graduating the same year in 2012.
Okay.
So from graduation, I took a sous chefing job down in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Did that for about 6 months, and I was miserable. And I was surfing, basically working and surfing. And one day, a buddy of mine, told me about the acai bowl things. Like one day didn't know what an acai was, and then there was an acai shop on every corner, so he convinced me one day to go try one.
This is in 12 when you finish school, or is this maybe 13? Like what year is this?
At this point, I think we're in end of 13 coming into 14.
Okay, and it's just getting hot in Puerto Rico? Like
just blew up in Puerto Rico. Things aren't subtle in Puerto Rico. when a trend hits, it goes hard, like really hard. It blows up, like I said, like every corner had an acai bowl shop. They were all selling the same exact thing. In most cases, the same exact product names, and they all still had a line 10, 15 people deep at all times of the day. And that went on for a while.
Okay, so now explain to me, you noticed the shift in the trend and then you talked to your friend or your friend? I mean, how did...
No, he dragged me to try my first acai bowl. Physically had to like convince me and drag me by the collar of my shirt for me to try a spoonful of an acai bowl.
He had like a food truck or a stand or something?
No, he has just been hooked on it like the rest of the population.
Okay.
And like I said, I had no interest in it at all whatsoever. And he's like, you got to try it. You got to try it. You got to try it. And one day I tried it and it was love at first sight. It was incredible. I was eating them 3 times a day for like 3 months straight after that. I was like, I got out of the water surfing, and the only thing on my mind was getting my acai bowl fix after I got out of the water.
Coming from a bacon, egg, and cheese kind of guy.
And I am a bacon, egg, and cheese kind of guy.
Nice. Okay. All right. So you try it, you love it, you see it trending. Okay. Then you go work for 6 months?
No, then I got my parents hooked on it.
Okay.
So the next smartest thing I did was I had to do the same thing to my father. I had to like spoon feed his first bite of acai bowl to him, and the same thing happened. And that's the beautiful thing of the acai bowl, man. It's like it's the same reaction. It's just like either it's mind blown or the same for me, but it's more mind blowing than the latter. So I got him to try it, and I'm like, this is a moneymaker, man. And it clicked for him. It clicked for me. We decided that, I skipped a step. We did the research and found out that nobody was really doing it in Charlotte.
Okay.
I was still up here at the time doing we'll get to it, but I was doing my liquor rep job at the time.
And did y'all talk? Like, did you know, like, what was like?
Well, he was telling me, like, my father and my brother were like, he's working in this acai business, and I was just like doing my regular day job and selling liquor to bars.
And you were like, cool?
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like a cool idea. I mean, it's barbecue and fried food in North Carolina.
He's a natural-born salesman.
There's nothing along the lines of healthy food at the time, back when we were considering doing it. I think maybe Fern and The Bean were the 2 restaurants that were here that were serving vegan food at the time.
Sure.
And
Cold Press was still riding the wave.
Yeah, that as well. And it was just like, why not?
Have you tried it yet or not yet?
What's that?
Have you tried an acai bowl or not yet?
Oh, are you kidding me? At that time?
At that time.
I was like, I eat one every day. At that time, I had not tried one yet. No.
Okay,
I was still up here in
so
North
you guys
Carolina.
were masterminding, like, okay, I mean, this is classic entrepreneur right there. Like, you eat it, and it's like, how can we make money with this?
That's it. It was forget the restaurant. Why don't we try this? And.
So I introduced it to my father.
Okay.
He saw the light, same as I did as a businessman. And we decided I was going to hop on Hector's truck. Hector Westerbaum, we'll give him a shout out as my mentor.
Okay.
Açaí Express, why not? He was killing the game in Puerto Rico, by far the leading company. And I hopped his truck. I learned everything from cutting fruit to making the bowls, to where it came from, the history of the product. And
nice.
I got to see with my own eyes, what turning $5,000 to $7,000 out of a 7x14 foot trailer, what that felt like.
Dang.
And I, to this day, dropping those numbers to business and entrepreneurial people still blows minds.
Those are some good numbers, man.
Fruit in a bowl, $7,000 in sales out of a 14-foot trailer. Nobody saw that coming.
1 to 2 employees. That's not 5, 10, 15 employees.
Yeah.
1 to 2 employees doing that kind of work.
That's just product cost with a little bit of overhead and slinging product.
Yep.
What is the history of acai bowl? I don't know.
So acai is a common Brazilian street food. The acai berry is very similar to a blueberry, large blueberry, a little darker, and it grows on a palm tree in the Brazilian Amazon specifically.
Okay.
It's much higher in antioxidants, less sweeter than a blueberry. But the Brazilians swear by it. The Brazilian people are, for the most part, actually very healthy people. And the acai bowl was just like a street food, like a get up and go, because the acai has that energizing factor to it.
Interesting.
They just swear by it. So traditional Brazilian street food, they serve it in an unpasteurized format, and in some cases warm instead of cold or frozen.
Okay.
So we've come a long way from the original street food in its recipe.
Nice.
But that's where it got its start. So Brazil, and from Brazil, via the surfing community, as far as I understand it, made its way to Hawaii, and then pretty much blew up in Hawaii, as far as I understand, similar to the way it went in Puerto Rico. And then from Hawaii to California, and once trends hit California, especially healthy food trends, then it becomes national. So it made its way all the way to Puerto Rico once again through the surfing community. And that's, as I said before, I'm a surfer, and that's how it got to me.
Nice. Okay, so you're studying, you're working. John's up here doing his thing. When did you guys meet up here in Charlotte? Like, how does it actually get down to like business brass tacks?
I think I put in about 4 or 5 months on the truck in Puerto Rico before I decided I was going to move back up here. I secured a job at BLT Steak at the Ritz.
Okay.
So I moved up here, moved in with my brother, and got to work on the business plan. So, and it's funny, about nine months later, the baby was born. The business plan was finished, and I was ready to execute. So I did 9 months at BLT, worked on my business plan. During that time, after hours, I would be in the kitchen, with the permission of my executive chef, experimenting, fruits portions, the tools that I was gonna use to, make the bowls, and I was just doing my homework in a professional grade kitchen. And I love to tell a story. Some of my peers were all Johnson Wales, and we're all cutthroat chef types.
Yeah.
You would see me playing with my diced fruit in a bowl. And I got less than like, okay, good luck with that. Those types of looks, during that phase. And 9 months later, I pulled the trigger. I ordered the trailer from a gentleman out in Ohio, fabricates them.
Yeah.
And I went and I drove to Ohio, picked it up, brought it back, and I think maybe a month later opened it.
Let me just pause for a second, because I think there's something that you said that we kind of just laughed at, but just know that sometimes when you have a vision for something, people may not catch the same vision that you have, and they'll laugh at it, right? And like
More
they're
often
like,
than not, for sure.
right? I mean,
You have more doubt than support,
right,
all day, every day.
and it happens a lot of times, even with family or people close to you. And listen, you have a vision for a reason, and that's your vision.
People want to see you do well, but not better than them. And that's most of the time.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure our audience hears that, because I think that's good. I mean, that's, because I feel like people take a little grief, and then like they're like, oh, I shouldn't do this. No. You're fine. Like, you might get some grief. You might get some resistance,
Arnold said it best. Ignore the naysayers.
I love that.
Straight up, just tune it out. Put the blinders on, nose to the grindstone, 1 foot in front of the other. Don't look back. Just focus everything. The first year, it was 16-hour days minimum.
When did you guys get the truck? Like what month, what year was it?
I secured the trailer.
Or trailer.
July 2015, right?
Yep. For the end of summer 15. So I secured the trailer and basically had a little time to get out there, and opened up and the word out, and then we went right into winter. And winter was brutal. That first winter, we sell a cold product. There's no fighting that winter's going to affect sales.
So what are some things that you guys, now you were still working your day job, John? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you were just kind of like tagging along, seeing what was going on?
When I wasn't doing the liquor rep job, I was coming out and handing out flyers and just yelling at people, hey, come try these acai bowls, just anything we could do to get, spoon to mouth, to get people to actually try the product. Because as soon as they try the product, it'd be maybe 1 out of 100 people was like, that's okay, but 99 people would be like, that's the best thing in the world. And, we'd have a line out the door after that. It's just getting product to lips is the number one thing that we were trying to do at the time. And it's like, not doing the liquor rep job. I was out trying to give out flyers and just, get clients in and post and say as much things as we can to get the brand out there.
So what are some things you guys learned the first year?
Social media is everything, specifically Instagram, reaching out to any of the local pages. I'm going to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
First and foremost, Charlotte Agenda. I think I credit them with putting us on the map initially, all day, every day. Every time I'd post, I'd tag the agenda. Several of their writers were good customers of mine.
Nice.
Became good friends of mine.
Nice.
And we had a great relationship. You know, they promoted the heck out of us in the beginning, and that just brought people to the door. And from there, we served them a quality product, and we grew. But Charlotte Agenda, reaching out to like the Stuff to Do pages in Charlotte, foodie pages, food critics, reach out, DM them, invite them to come taste the product for free, write a review, share their thoughts. All that is so crucial. In addition to your 3 to 6 posts a day. Make sure you're posting constantly, hashtag the heck out of it. And again, just try and network with as many people on social media as possible.
It's, I remember, I think I was watching a video, it was like a presentation that an entrepreneur is doing. And he said that the reason you don't have more business is because of obscurity. Like people just don't know that you're there. Yep. You got to use any method necessary to get your voice out there. This is who we are. This is what we do. Come try. I mean, like anything. So I love that because I think people are like,
our generation's spoiled with Instagram. I mean, our fathers, our folks, they never had that tool at their disposal. I mean, not even the internet at that point, much less Instagram.
True.
It's simple. It's a free platform. It's free marketing to the masses.
I love that you were all in 3 to 6 posts, DMing. I mean,
I required it from my crew at one point. AM, midday, PM, minimum. If you're going to be on your phone, you be on my phone, my Instagram, posting pictures that you're making. You make a beautiful bowl, take a picture of it, post it. You got a nice couple out front or a group of kids with beautiful bowls, kindly ask them, hey, you guys want to get a picture on the Instagram? That was another thing. Putting pictures or sharing customer pictures to the page was like tenfold. The impact was tenfold. It's
because then they want to share.
They feel famous. It's a brief. I mean, it might sound silly, but you're being posted. People want that fame. People want to be seen, and Instagram is everything. So while posting 3 times a day was great, but what really, really helped was taking pictures that people tagged us in, or just taking pictures of our customers just standing out front enjoying their product.
Weren't you at one point like you started taking pictures of people and of them with their bowls and in front of the trailer? It's our bowls are very Instagrammable. If you've seen one, they're very pretty and eye catching.
100%.
And it just became a thing that we started getting high school kids coming to us and asking if we would post their picture of their prom bowl. It would be I'm not even kidding you. They would come to us and be like, will you blah 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 come to prom with me or go to prom with me? And then they would take a picture of the girl saying yes or the couple saying yes of going to prom, and it was like that became a huge thing. That was like,
that's how you know you're on to something.
It became really important, to have all these kids, and it was like one high school was doing it, and then it was just like
it caught on,
and it caught on like fire. We literally had 50 people like, we want prom bowls. It's like, hold on,
What are you talking about?
What is a prom bowl? Yeah, exactly. We're like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you got to write it down the bowl for us. I'm going to ask my significant other, my other person, you come with me. So.
I love, and you know what? I think this is such good tactical information for other just entrepreneurs. Don't shy away from, listen, I don't know what your thoughts are, but this social media thing ain't going nowhere. Right? Like, you better start embracing it and create some presence, right? Well, yeah, but people might put negative stuff. It doesn't matter. Just do what you do. Put a good product out there, create good service, whether you're a restaurant, a dry cleaner, I don't care. It really does not matter. You can make, we try to make paper products cool. That's
any publicity
toilet
is
paper.
Good publicity.
You can create a personality with almost anything. You literally can. And so this is very good. And this is my opinion. What do you guys think about this? People should maybe think about this even in their business. Like, hey, we have a restaurant. Well, we have this wall. Have you guys seen where people like draw like wings or something cool on the wall? People take pictures of them. Like, think about this kind of stuff. People want to take pictures. People want to so I think this should actually be part of people's like thought process of marketing. Like, okay, how can we create a wall or something, or, so what are y'all's thoughts on that? Like, just, the marketing mindset angle perspective that owners should think about when starting or attempting to think about a business.
Branding is everything. Like, created the brand from the ground up. how did I come to? Should we cover how I named it Rico's?
Yeah.
I think it came down to something like Fitberry or Rico's.
Okay.
Fitberry was like a yogurt shop, so nobody liked that. But Rico's, I had a propensity of naming all my menu planning and restaurant projects in Johnson and Wales Rico's. I just wanted to rep home. It was something catchy, something
Puerto
that
Rico,
people
okay.
that didn't speak Spanish could roll off their tongue anyway. And Rico's. So came down to Fitberry or Rico's, and well, the rest is history.
Nice.
I wanted to rep home, all the way from the logo. The logo is the frog is what we call a coqui. Coqui is like our native animal, and it was all about repping home.
I love that.
But the logo started off as a tiny pencil sketch on a corner of a page full of already done logos. My graphic designer had given me a sheet of really nice done, colored in logos, ready to rock, and like to pick which I which I liked and to continue developing. But it's somewhere along the way she'd like scribbled or started a doodle on the corner of one of those pages what the logo is now. I saw the berry hugging frog, just scribbled on the side of the page, and I was like, I don't want any of these other pretty ones.
You're like, what's that there in the corner right there?
I want you to develop that one.
I love that.
And that's how the logo came to be. But we trademarked it immediately. It's another crucial thing. Protect your logo and protect your investment.
It's a good point.
But
That's a good point.
branding is huge. There was a time where I was ready to just slap a Rico sticker on a white trailer and park it in open. But I'm so glad I didn't do that. I took the time to develop the graphic and the artwork, and we wrapped the trailer really pretty. The big green and purple colors, and for the 2 weeks before I opened, I actually parked the trailer uptown on the side of the road. I asked the meter maid if they would ticket me if I paid the meter, and they're like, no, as long as you pay the meter, you can park the trailer here. So I had this thing uptown as a giant billboard for about 2 weeks prior to opening, and no kidding, a lot of the first customers were like, oh, I drove by this, for a week. What is it?
Yeah, what do y'all do?
Got them. Just like that.
I love that. I mean, that's one of the reasons the very first truck that we have is a very small little Isuzu truck, and we wrapped it. Here's my mindset, Matt. It was, I'm 22 years old. I'm the sales piece of the business. My cousin, who's 18, is kind of like the warehouse kind of delivery. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm about to walk into this restaurant, they have to be able to look at us and treat us a little bit professional and not as a 22 and 18-year-old. So I'm like, you know what? I mean, we literally saved up for a few months, and then I had the idea, what if I put people's logos, the manufacturers, on here, and I have them pay for it?
There you go.
So then I got Clorox and Dart and Solo and these companies to pay me. I said,
That's awesome.
I literally wrote up a contract. It's a Word document that and it was.
That's something you're born with. You don't learn that. You're not taught that. That kind of thing is something you're born with.
I literally said, I would be willing to put your logo on my truck for the next 2 years if you pay me $300, and I got 5-6 people to give me $300, and they pay for my first wrap, and then bam, now it's been like we just wrap everything now because it just shows, you know what I mean? Like
crucial.
100%.
Marketing and the visuals. I wanted colors and a design that was going to break necks everywhere I went. And bright green and purple achieved that all day, every day.
If you think about like McDonald's, it's bright red and yellow. Every time you think of that, it makes you think
Golden
of the
arches,
smell
yep.
of the fries, and it's the same thing for any business that you're in the restaurant business. It's like we had a lot of people saying, like Matt was saying, he parked the trailer uptown. He's like, "What's Rico's? What is that?" And it was like, "Oh, it's we sell acai bowl." It's like, well, what's an acai bowl?
Yeah.
It's like we had to get them to the door, get them to try it, and go down that path. But you wouldn't believe how many people was like, oh, they'd ask me like, what do you do for work? It's like, oh, I work with Rico's. We own Rico's. And they'd be like, well, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's the little bright green trailer we sell acai bowls. Oh, I don't know what acai bowls are, but I've seen your trailer.
There you go.
And it was like, well, I know we're onto something if they recognize the colors. There's like, I guess other businesses that are using green are like Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's a big brand, right? They're using bright green. Well, let's try it. And
Like that.
we came out to the green and the purple, man.
Take the time for the branding. Don't, like I said, I got impatient towards the end there. I just wanted to open it up, but I waited a little bit longer, took the steps, got the trailer wrapped.
Nice.
And it made all the
Best
difference
thing.
in the world. Take the time to do it right. Buy once, cry once.
Yeah.
So Okay, so you guys have the trailer, you're hustling it. What are some things you learned the first year? Was it immediate takeoff? Did it take a little while? Did you struggle a little bit? Like, give us like the first, 6, 12, 18 months with that first trailer. Give it
18 months. Let's see. First and foremost, it's lonely. It's very lonely starting a business. Initially, so we started at the end of summer. Even with the hot months, I mean, I was still starting, so I had good support from my friends and family. They'd come out, get bowls, and share word of mouth. But that first winter was gnarly. It's just me. I'm the only employee at that point. Haven't taken off enough to where I can hire anyone.
Yeah.
So it was, again, all day, every day. I wanted to be open 7 days a week and all day long. I wanted maximum potential out of it, and it was just that. I would be there, tow it up, open it up, prep, open, and then I'd serve all the way about 2 or 3 o'clock, and I'd literally put a sign in the window and a pillow on the floor and take a nap, tap the glass for service.
Are you serious right now?
Dead serious. After 4 or 5 o'clock, people would be done with the gym, and then they come through for their dinner and post-workout meals. They tap the glass. I'm back up, and I'm refreshed for the second half of the day. But that's how it was. Every waking moment on that trailer. Every waking moment on that trailer, I had delivery services bringing me my meals, but that's what it takes. I had no nightlife, no social life, no girlfriend life, none of that. It was 100% focused,
Consumed, obsessed,
and it's hard. It's hard not to want to go see your friends at the end of the night. Instead, go home, balance the register, and get ready for the next day, and just try and move yourself forward. It takes a lot of discipline, of which I do not have naturally.
Yeah.
To keep your nose to the grindstone.
I love that so much, Matt, because I think people see the back end of like the flashy entrepreneur in your, in your name, in your Instagram. They see you with the car, and they're like, bro, like, you don't see how much work we have put into getting this thing off of the ground.
It's easy. Everybody's like, it's easy.
Easy. People want to see the good, not the bad, or the easy, not the hard.
Yeah.
Especially in today's day and generations, everybody's looking for that easy money.
Yeah, which doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And if somebody says it does, run.
They're lying. They're lying.
Turn and run
up.
the opposite direction. No, man, I mean, I love that. So the pillow thing, I mean, come on.
I say pillow, but what I mean is a bag of rags.
100%. A little universe, a little sack of aprons and rags.
Just like that. I'd get about an hour. There was an hour lull for rush hour. People were getting home and headed to the gym. And it was like clockwork.
I love it.
It was like 3 o'clock nap time, get back up around 4, and we're going to start serving people again.
Let's go.
Into the evening.
I love that.
But that was very important, being there all day long, 7 days a week, especially as a food truck.
Cool.
People as a food truck assume that you're going to move around all over the place.
Yeah.
But once I got that point across, that I was there like a storefront, 7 days a week, all day long, and it was first thing in the morning all the way to the end of the day and in the evening.
Yep.
I was across the street from the Duke Energy Center, and you got guys there that worked around the clock on the trading floor. So once they figured out that I was the only thing open past 5 o'clock, it was easy.
Game over.
It was game over. I mean, the guys at Wells got like a $20 allowance, and they would all come down, order bowls, call them ahead if I knew them. I had great personal relationships with so many of my customers, from the office guys all the way to checkers players, the honeybees, the Panthers. Everybody came through. And that's another thing I'm going to drive home while we're on that subject. Ownership and showing face. You got to be there. It's tough, especially as you grow the business, to be there every day, but it's crucial. Year 1, year 2, 7 days a week, show your face to your customers, interact with them, get to know them. It goes a long way.
I love that. John, your thoughts on any of that?
That's very true. I mean, if you don't, like, let's say you can get given $1 million. You have $1 million, you go start your own brand.
Yeah.
You put other people in charge of it. You have them run it for you. It's not going to be your vision at the end of the day. It's going to be what their perception is of your vision. So if you're not involved in it, you're not involved in it. You got to put the hard work in. There's no way around it. You're not going to make $1 million here.
Yep.
It's just not going to happen. You got to put the time and the effort in to be able to get the carrot at the end of the runway. It's just the way it is.
I love that. So when did you guys open up number 2 spot? Or was it a trailer? Was it a storefront? Was it a standalone?
Number 2 actually doubles as a story of how JJ came into it. So I'd started with one trailer.
Okay.
And I had been reached, let's see, the 7th Street public market was only a year or two old at this point.
Okay.
And they had marketed the heck out of it in Johnson & Wales. The reps came through and talked about what they were going to do with the 7th Street market, how it was going to be great for incubating small businesses, especially for us types, getting ready to graduate, school, and the prospect of opening up a brick and mortar was non-existent.
Yep.
With $60,000 in school debt.
Yep.
So it was already on my mind. They reached out once Rico's the trailer started to take off. So
when is that? They reached out what?
2016. So about a year and
some change.
Spring of the 2nd year in business, or our first spring in business.
Okay.
End of summer, and it was dead until spring came back around again with the winter, and spring boomed, and I got on people's radars. So 7th Street reached out. And we started to talk. I wanted to do like a standalone setup in there, make it real nice, just like a grab and go, as small as humanly possible setup. So got started with that, got all the way down to the equipment and design and everything. And then Rico, the flagship location blew up even harder. And I didn't have the time or the wherewithal to handle a second location. So
that's where I came in, and still at the time I was doing the liquor rep job. I was working for Republic National at the time, and I was just like, this business is taking off. We gotta
we're having all the fun without him.
And I'm like, I'm working for somebody else, and I'm like, okay, when do I stop working for somebody else and start working for myself? I'm looking at my brother killing it, and I'm like,
that's a good question though, right?
Nobody would have seen that. Everyone, I promise you ask anyone that knows us who would have been, first to open up their business, it would have been John all day long.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it. I mean, I'd always worked for other people. I never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
It was easier. I preferred it. I take orders well.
Yeah.
It's things out of the norm like that actually make your brand come out. It's like, don't put stipulations on you do this, you do this. It's like, you see something, identify it, problem solve, make it, figure it out.
So how was the launch of 7th Street?
So basically, he was basically tied up with his trailer, and 7th Street rolled around at the time, offering us the position, and I was like, well, you know what? I can balance both. I'll do my liquor rep job, and I'll open my 7th Street market location.
Yep.
Thank God at the time I did have a girlfriend who basically she's the life of my side of the brand. When I'm still doing my liquor rep job. But prior to 7th Street, she had worked on Matt's trailer right when it was getting busy and getting crazy. She left her job. She was doing, what's that called? Cryosauna. She was cryosaunaing different people, things like that. And we're like, we need help. We need employees. We need people that we can trust. And she was like, well, you know what? Forget this. I'll come work for you and we'll see how it goes. And
nice.
Started working for Matt and worked for Matt for, I think, about 4 months or something like that, and then we got the idea for 7th Street, and she basically took the lead, and we got everything outfitted for 7th Street. I think we're operating out of 250 square feet at 275. No,
you're like 130 there.
It's like, let's say 200. We're on 200 square feet, and it's just like that's smaller than our trailers, you know, and it took off as well. 7th Street started doing well, and Maureen was handling it and had the same response that we did for Matt's trailer. It took a little bit, 3 or 4 months, and just got people knowing about our brand, and
I love that.
The third store was Plaza Midwood.
Tampa. Can't forget about Tampa.
Tampa, that's right.
So I had ordered, after 7th Street, I ordered yet another trailer. Wanted to make sure any excess funds I had made in year one went immediately back into the business. So that was just ordering trailers. So I ordered my second trailer, and second trailer got finished. And once again, I found myself overwhelmed with the one location I had already. So I now had a brand new trailer ready to rock and roll, and no wherewithal to deal with it. And at this point, John and Maureen already had their hands full with 7th Street.
Yeah.
So now what? So I had a cousin down in Tampa, Florida, who was also looking for something to do with herself after school.
Nice.
So I had her come up here. She worked and lived with me for about 6 months. And then hooked up the trailer to her Jeep, and she drove it down to Tampa, Florida, and opened.
Hey.
And they're still open. So
I
that's
love
number
that.
3.
Prima hooked it up, huh?
Yep, family, family of business people.
How many
entrepreneurs.
locations you guys got now?
So right now we have a Plaza Midwood,
Okay.
7th Street Public Market. We have our Robinson Farms, which is out in Ballantyne.
Okay.
Matt just got a Belmont open.
And unfortunately, we had to close the South Park Mall and the Uptown trailer during COVID.
Yeah.
Uptown isn't permanent. South Park is permanent.
Gotcha.
It's permanent, but it's permanent. We're going to replace them somewhere else.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we will go back into the South Park market, same as Uptown, just when the people come back.
You got 4 or 5 locations?
So
We topped out at 5,
Nice.
6, including Tampa.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I had to close a few.
Let's do this. As we wrap up, what are some pieces of advice that you'd love to give to people that are listening to this for the very first time where, you know, maybe they're in a secure job, you know, but they've always had kind of this itch to do their own thing, you know, or maybe somebody that's young that maybe kind of their parents or their family, they've seen them own successful businesses, maybe even talk about maybe having a family business, because like that sometimes can't be easy either, right? I mean, kind of dealing with family.
We're blessed, you know. Our immediate family's always been tight. My brother and I have always been part of the business. Call it an indoctrination from birth, man. We were just
I love
born into business. Again, I didn't see myself doing business. I mean, I wanted to be a soldier forever, but that's another story. But business
Podcast number 2.
Yeah. Business is what it ended up being. But
Nice.
if I were to tell anyone something, and this is even to this day is hard for me, is stepping outside of that comfort zone. You know, taking that leap. You know, jumping, whatever you want to call it, the risk. But scared money doesn't make money.
It's true.
So you got to get out of the comfort zone and go do stuff. You know, put your social life on hold. Think about the future.
If your friends if your friends aren't doing anything with themselves and they're staying stagnant,
Get away from them.
you gotta it's at least take a break from it. Get away from it. Do what you want to do. You know, follow your goal and see if you can get it started. If you want to get into the restaurant business, I would suggest starting out of a truck. You know, I mean, it comes with its own things, like, you know, you have to operate the generator, maintain it, and those things basically add up to the cost of having a fixed location. The main difference is you're not signed into a 5, 6, 7 year lease.
Yeah.
That's the biggest killer of businesses, especially
when aim small, miss small. You know, don't bite off more than you can chew. The same goes for growth. We in the beginning, I don't know how, I had 2-3 people a day come up to me to ask me about investing and growing in the business. You know, I have all this money, I want to do something with it, all day, every day. Again, all the way from business people to the local sports teams, you know, talking about investing in this business. And one of the hardest things to do is say, I'm taking it easy.
Yeah.
I want to go slow. I want to do it right. Make sure we take the time to develop the brand of the business, so when the time comes to really, truly grow it, it counts. It doesn't fizzle out. We don't bite off more than we can chew.
Love that.
I see so many businesses, they have great starts, you know, one location, then, you know, they'll either take on a partner or an investor and try to go from 1 to 5 and expect it to succeed without having dialed in the first one to begin with.
It's true.
Don't skip steps.
I love that. I love that. This was amazing. Honest to goodness, there was so much sound advice that you guys, even this is why I love telling stories. Like, this is why I love this, because anybody, and I'm not even blowing smoke, anybody that listens to this podcast right now is going to take so much from it. It's unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. So shout out to you guys. Matt, John, thanks for joining us at the Paper Trails Podcast.
Thanks for having us, Nick.
Follow these guys on all their platforms, right? Rico, Açaí. If you guys are in the Charlotte-esque and suburbs area, come visit them. Find their spots. They're everywhere online. Go to their Instagram. Check them out. And even if you're a little further than Charlotte, come visit these guys. I had one at the Central Avenue store, maybe like 6 months ago, 9 months ago. I forget which one it was. I think I had chocolate and peanut butter on it, but it was
Butter bro.
I want to say that's it. I want to say I asked maybe like the person. I was like, it's my first time. What do you think? And they suggested it. it was, first off, it was so much. I couldn't even I think I ate like half of it. And then, I mean, first off, the bowls that they're in are unbelievable. I mean, the quality of the plastic bowls, shout out to APS. But
Good stuff, man.
But anyway, appreciate you guys. It's fantastic. Obviously, doing business with you guys. Appreciate it so much, from my family to yours.
Thank you,
wish you guys nothing but success in everything you guys touch.
Same to you.
And so thank you guys so much. Good checking us out. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do what you got to do. Let's blow this episode up. But we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day.